Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the How to Choose Happiness and Freedom Show. I'm your host, Lauren Foster, happiness teacher and author of Happy and Free on Purpose, Daily Practices to Live and Love Your Life. You can see it right there over my left shoulder. I am so pleased and honored and thrilled to have with me today a fellow meditation teacher. Suzanne Thompson and I are both certified by David G. as Masters of Wisdom and Meditation teachers. And whenever I'm looking for another perspective or just another beautiful soul to reach out to, I have this built-in group and this built-in community. So welcome, Suzanne, and thank you for being with us today. And I forgot to mention that Suzanne's also the founder of Soul Archaeology. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Right. So she's going to tell us what that is all about. Thanks for being with me.
Oh, I'm so grateful. It's been an absolute beautiful time. So as we have that mutual connection of David G, my first journey to the States was back in 2018, actually, and to do my certification then. I started my meditation journey a long time ago, but because I worked as a change agent within the federal government here in Australia. And but I was a crisis meditator, and it was actually David that labeled that, which was nice to actually understand what it meant. And that crisis meditation was that whenever anything got overwhelming, we'd set ourselves into this moment and we go, okay, I'll just go breathe, I'll go meditate, and that'll just make things better. And after a moment of massive shift that happened in 2017, of the dissolving of a marriage or the breakdown of it completely, and putting myself into a position of being homeless with two small children, jobless as well, I took a step back and realized that something needed to change. And that was, I actually wanted to find stillness amongst all of this. So gratefully started to practice daily, and then with the introduction of David G through Hay House, because I'd always been, I'd always used Louise Hay and Dr. Wayne Dyer as my guides in meditation practice. And so then that's brought me through this magical journey since 2017 to where I am today, which has been loving and also challenging, and grateful to be honouring that I live in an ampersand world, that we have a coin and it is both sides, and we don't meditate to always be calm. It's about working through whatever you're feeling at that moment and owning it. So you can feel uncomfortable. You can feel, you're allowed to feel anger. You're allowed to feel stress. But it's then how do you work and flow through that? So that led me to understanding that as adults, we're so on this journey to remember stillness, to remember peace. And watching two little humans grow, or they're not little, as in young humans, evolving humans, come through, I see them as my best teachers. They show me everything. They're constantly a mirror, and they reflect in me what I reflect in me and what they reflect in themselves. And it showed me that over the last couple of years, and I think it hasn't just been around the pandemic, but definitely stress and trauma in many ways has been unfolding, and how to live in a constant life of change.
Right.
And so for me, what unfolded with a daily meditation practice, and actually twice daily meditation practice, and I reflect on that now because my meditation practice has always changed, but I was always very particular about the benefit of meditating in the morning and starting the day, and just having an afternoon practice or an end of the day practice as well. And in the last sort of week and a half, I've noticed that afternoon one, because of school holidays and kids, has actually shortened. And upon reflection, it actually makes a massive difference.
Right.
So, but with practicing meditation and seeing the benefit of what it's actually done for the children, because I actually incorporate them into it. They sometimes come down to the beach with me to meditate, or at home if it's raining. And I had always resonated with a meeting that I had sat in on that was with the Dalai Lama back in 2012. And it's a quote that's been used, but for me, every time I say it and every time I hear it and it vibrates, it hits, and it enables me to actually know that I'm doing what I love, which was that if every 8-year-old meditated for 15 minutes a day, in one generation, we would have dissolved all violence. And I want to make that happen. I'm here to do that. So Soul Archaeology was born actually at the Nest, within the first meditation teacher training with David, and I've stuck with it. And it was because I am a qualified archaeologist. I studied and I understood this whole concept of widening one's sieve to uncover the gems that lie inside of you, of your soul. And so now that's what I'm doing, is I've made it my purpose. Well, I haven't made it my purpose, it is my purpose. I realized it, I remembered it. So I am now in the process of guiding. Well, I'm actually working with littler kids as well, like little 1-year-olds as well, so in childcare centres. So, but primarily looking at 4 to 8 or 9-year-olds, and delivering and guiding them on a daily meditation practice.
So you're teaching very young children the power of meditation, and to have a meditation practice at that age. That's awesome.
And it's the difference. The point of difference is that schools and teachers are doing a fabulous job of welcoming in many different modalities. But where I've seen the science come in and involve is that, as you know, you and I both know about having that starting the day within that stillness, it just sets you. So it can actually, you can then remember to then come back to that. Mm-hmm. So I've set it up so that it actually enables the teachers to sit the kids down, and it doesn't matter if one child engages or if all children engage, but at least if it brings them together in that moment for 5 to 8 minutes. I've worked no more than that, because that's the general span, and it's a co-created process as well. What I mean by that is I listen to many different things going on in the world, and it's practice that enables them to remember stillness, to remember comfort, and to remember compassion, and to also remember that they, as you and I are perfect as and whole as we were created, so that we actually don't lose sight of that.
Right. And it's not something we need to earn. It's something that we have just by existing. Yeah. I love that you're teaching children that at that age, because they learn so much easier than adults do. And then this will be ingrained in them throughout their life. I like that. I love it. So what does that look like? Do you go into the schools and teach the teachers, or how does?
So with the little kids, so the 1 to 4 and 5-year-olds in early learning centres, I'm working with I have to be face to face, because over here most of those centres don't have a digital platform, and the science shows that the amount of screen time that should be accessible to them is virtually zero,
right?
At such a young age. So that is, and when I said about being in an ampersand world, that's my local focus, is that. So I'm limited to how many I can do in a day, and that's by choice, because I want to ensure that I can be present and then grow that. And there is potential to scale it to, yes, eventually enable to teach the teachers, but the educators and the teachers have enough on their own plate. And as we know, it's like teachers are there to give them a broadened education. And if they themselves aren't don't have their own meditation practice, it's really quite hard to teach it. It's not just a matter of just reading a book.
Right.
It's a practice that is something that's instilling. So then what I've designed is, through science, a 56-day block, which works out to be virtually a school term. So 56 to 60 days is here in Australia, is what sits in about a school term, because we usually have 10-week school terms. And they're pre-recorded, and it's I've just moved on to a new platform. I was sort of setting it up using YouTube and all of this, and I was finding that I wanted it to be easy for them. So a platform that was created in the States, in San Francisco, by an Australian who's now moved back. It's called OnPodio, and they've recently connected with they've come together with a TV channel called Recess TV. So gratefully, it's all come together. So OnPodio was created for personal trainers and yoga instructors, to bring you in, and there's many different platforms that people are doing, but for this, it enables me now to, which is what I'm now in the process of doing, is connecting my all of my stuff from Facebook and Instagram, and bringing it all together so that it's in one accessible place.
So are you saying OnPodio, ONPODIO? How do you spell that?
Yeah, ONPODIO.
Okay. And that's where, so can our listeners go to that platform to learn more about you? And
the easiest way is to come to my website, which is soularchaeology.org. So that's SOULARCHAEOLOGY. So there's the A and the E. It's the bit that always gets missed. Right. And that's .org, because it is the purpose is to scale, to be an organisation. So what will happen is you come to Soul Archaeology, and then it'll actually take you. So initially now it's set up that it sets up a Calendly link straight to me, so we can meet and talk to see if it's what you want. And then because there's an approach for if there are teachers that want to get involved, or for children, if they want to work one-on-one or in smaller groups, because I also work on smaller groups and have them around here at home, because I now have space here to welcome them in as a business, and into this space that I call the time in room. And then there's also for families as well, because I have a Saturday morning session where I welcome everyone down at the beach, now that the weather's getting better here.
Nice.
So,
now, what age are your own children?
So Saffron is 7 and Jackson's a couple of weeks off 9.
Okay. So do they you mentioned that they participate in your meditation. So assuming that that we are meditators and we want to introduce that to our own children, you don't want to make them, because that's just like, so how do you actually get them interested and get them to participate and learn?
Well, in the beginning, it was, I suppose, being a solo parent. It's really interesting. I've really not liked using that word for a bit. It's actually, at the moment, it's like, as a parent, that's, I'm 100% present for the kids no matter what. But yeah, I have been a solo parent from the get-go. But being a solo parent, and with what we went through, it was like, especially, I think where it hit mainly was, I didn't want to bring them in. Like, as you said, you don't want to force them, because there's no point. So with being in the position that I was in, it was like I was meditating at home, and I would sit down in a space. I would get up in the mornings, and if the children woke up, especially Saffron, if she woke up, she would just come and she would sit in my lap and normally fall back asleep, but then while I was meditating. And Jackson, from the age of 5, he was practicing yoga through his school once a week. So then that actually started for him, that understanding of that. And then because after I did did meditation teacher training with David, I actually went into study yoga teacher training as well, more from a deeper philosophy side, but also to get a better understanding of that whole body side of things. Because the asana, the postures, is only such a small part of that massive iceberg of yoga. And so to get Jackson and Saffron to come now, it's just a matter of this space that I've also created, as I call it, the time in room. It's where I work, but it's also where I create, but it's where the kids create. So for them, it's like they create music 2 different ways, and there's always a yoga mat down. So now it's like they will come in and do that, because the energy in this room is inviting to do that. We talk it through, but then what we were doing is, I started it there last year with, because when we here in South Australia we went into lockdown, because we sort of never, anyway, it's a very confusing topic, and I don't want to get political at all. Anyway, but I was already I was actually contained last year, because I had the kids at school and children. My parents were vulnerable. There was all these vulnerable people in my family. So we were contained at home pretty well much. And so I had not much more to do but then just deepen my practice.
Right.
So I was doing a lot of reading, I was doing a lot of meditating, I was doing a lot of Zoom meetings, and I was finding that with doing this interaction, a lot of this virtual interaction, I needed to practice more because it was so heady for me. It was just so in the head. And even though you're sitting in the heart, there was a lot more. And so, yeah, the kids just now naturally come in the mornings. It's like if they wake up, because I go for, now that it's nicer weather, the sun rises somewhere between 6 and 7 here in the morning at the moment. And so if I'm up and they wake up, they'll get dressed and they'll come down and walk with me, and then they sit or they'll just run around, and it's for them. But then also when we drive to school, we have a practice and we talk about, we do a gratitude on the way, sing a song. And then I was doing lives on Facebook for most of last year and this year with the kids, where I would sit, kids would design. That's what I said about the co-creation, is I ask the kids what they think the world needs. And because when I say the word compassion, it means something different to them. Like Saffron's example was people need to, something about being perfect. And I said, well, what does perfect mean to you? And she said, just being as good as you can be. And I went, awesome. So it was, we have to understand that we have to speak in their language. So yeah, so hence I don't use any major, I don't talk to them and use the words like mantra or all that sort of stuff. I just ask them what they think the world needs, and then we just work through a very simple, compassionate process, which is the practice that Pema Chodron taught, which is, it comes across as actually the opposite to what we normally think of meditation, which is you breathe in the good and then you breathe out what's bad, or but with the compassion practice, is you're looking at a situation or a circumstance or a human, and you see their pain or their sorrow, or it's your own pain or your own sorrow or confusion, and you inhale that, and then as you exhale through the heart, you see it in a different light, one that is knowing that there is that pain, but you can see that there's a different outcome and there's an opportunity for it to be an alternative. Not saying that it's going to be better, but it's just the fact that it's an alternative. So that's the practice that I found with the kids. It works better for them because they understand that, because they naturally want to, they're inquisitive. They naturally, it's like you hurt yourself, they naturally want to touch it. They naturally want to say, can I see it? I'll get the ice pack,
Right.
or I'll get the tissue or the Band-Aid or whatever, like that's
right.
That's where it goes. So yeah.
All right. Well, so you were going to lead us in a short meditation before we close it today. Is that still cool with you?
I'd love to.
Yes,
I'd love to.
I'm always interested to hear and experience other teachers. So I'm really happy about this part.
Beautiful, beautiful. So as I invite all of you, yourself and all of your listeners, I invite you to get comfortable and welcome you into that. And that comfort is yours. And you might be sitting, you might be laying down. And then I welcome you, if in that comfort, to close your eyes. But if you are unable to, that is still okay. Just try and soften the screen so you're actually not observing the screen. Close your eyes and feel your breath in and out. And feel yourself breathing in and breathing out. Now silently say to yourself, I am breathing in. I am breathing out. And then on the next breath in, silently ask yourself one thing that you are grateful for, or who are you grateful for, and breathe out. Three breaths of gratitude. Inhale and exhale. And now I invite you, while you're sitting in this space of gratitude, to breathe in through the navel and exhale through the heart. Inhale through the navel and exhale through the heart. And as you're breathing in through the navel, breathe in a little bit of fear. It might be fear of going outside, talking on a podcast. Exhale through the heart that love you have for yourself. Inhale the love for the self through the belly. Exhale love for the self. Inhale love for the self through the belly. Feel it traveling up and out through the heart. I invite you and welcome you to let that go, knowing you can always return to it at any time during the day. I invite you and welcome you to open your eyes. And I thank you.
Thank you. That was absolutely beautiful. Appreciate it so
Glad.
much. Yeah. Thank
You're
you for being
welcome.
here with us. All right.
Oh.
So the website is soularchaeology.org. And wherever you're listening to this, you can probably find it in the notes. I'll have this so that it's easily clickable. And so, yeah, check out Suzanne and teach your own children to meditate and create a world of peace. It's a beautiful thing.
No worries.
All right.
Deeply honored.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you. We'll be back next week with another great episode. In the meantime, remember, happiness is a choice. You can always choose to be happy first. I'll see you soon.